Howdy, folks, and welcome to the Six Ranch Podcast. On today's episode, we have Jim O'Leary and Ross Sevy from Switchback Outdoors. Switchback is a really cool YouTube channel that has hunted for deer, elk, turkey, bear, and more all over the West. These are really great guys, and Jim is one of my best friends. We talk guns, bullets, and how to start a YouTube channel. Recording from the depths of Hell's Canyon.
Hello. How's it going today? Jim O'Leary here.
There we go.
The Jim O'Leary.
You have a great voice. It's almost like you're announcing somebody to come onto a specific type of stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, today in our episode of The Worst Bear Hunter, starring yours truly.
But how are you the worst bear hunter?
Well,
You went bear hunting, you saw a bear, it was too far.
Yeah.
It was one day.
That was one day. It's pretty much my bear hunting career at this point, so failed one day. But redemption is on the horizon.
Okay. Ross,
Yeah.
tell me about yourself.
Let's see. 32 years old. Like long walks down the Snake River Beach looking for bears. No, I'm born in Idaho. Lived in Idaho my whole life.
Are your folks from Idaho?
Yep. Little town called, well, they live in Marcy now, but I grew up in Fruitland, Idaho, just across the border from Oregon.
Yep.
And now live up in a little mountain town called McCall. And a little piece of heaven up there.
Yeah, it is a nice spot. And there's a ski area there.
Yeah, we got two ski areas, Tamarack Resort and Brundage.
Okay. Does that bring in a lot of business in the wintertime?
Yeah, wintertime and summertime is crazy up there. It's a very touristy town. So,
Do you ever get a break?
yeah, usually fall and then about this time right now. Well, especially with everything going on in the world right now, but even this time of year when it's beautiful down in the valleys and up there, it's just kind of the worst time of the year. Everything's melting and muddy and just a mess.
Yeah. So right now we're down in Hell's Canyon. We're bear hunting. We're fishing for bass and sturgeon and hanging out. Doing a little hunt for 6-hour electro optics and 6-hour rifles. Bringing the cross rifle out here, and you guys are shooting at Gunworks 6.5 PRC.
Yep, that's correct.
I'm not super familiar with the PRC. What's that thing all about, Jim?
So it's pretty much they take the 6.5 and then bump it up into a little bit more performance than the standard Creedmoor, and
Just speed?
Yeah. And overall, been very happy with it. Last year we harvested 4 deer with it, I believe, on our Icon tour, and pretty good results overall with it. And then the range time that I've been able to have with it in the interim it's been a good gun, or a good cartridge.
Yeah. So how much faster is it than a 6.5 Creedmoor?
This one is running a little short, or a little slower than some of the ones you can get, because you can get those up to about 3,000, but ours is at a 2803 right now, just because we have a shorter 20-inch barrel on it and built for a little lightweight gun. But
so 150 feet per second, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And and then the bullet that you're liking right now is ELDM. From
Yep,
Hornady.
the match from Hornady and the 147 grain, little thinner jacket than the ELDX that a lot of people have been using. Still good performance on animals, which is consideration, I guess, in when you're choosing your bullet, is making sure that you do have something that is useful when hunting. So
Right,
that just doesn't shoot good.
A lot of people get hung up on their ability to shoot paper at 600 yards or shoot a steel target at 1,000 yards and like, oh, this thing drives tacks. We're not hunting tacks. That would be a weird hunt. Tacks probably suck to eat. Like, I don't know what the point of that is, but yeah, velocity certainly helps, and that is a bit of a shortfall in the 6.5 Creedmoor. I shot some Hornady American Gunner ammo. Have you come across that stuff?
I have not.
It's like a bulk box of ammo, and it shoots really well, but it's definitely throttled back a little bit. I think they tried to save some money on gunpowder. When I shot that out of my SIG DMR that has an 18-inch barrel, I was at like 2405. So, I was dropping 10 feet between 600 and 700 yards, if I'm remembering that right.
Yeah.
It's still hitting.
Yeah.
But not very hard.
No,
not
it's
very
really
hard.
slowing down on the end there.
So it's actually less energy at that range than a 9mm at point blank. So people tend to misunderstand capabilities based on accuracy, and I feel like a lot of hunters, and you guys are welcome to argue with me on this, I feel like a lot of hunters were sort of given a bad bill of sale on the importance of shot placement, and that being the end of the day. Like, just if you have good shot placement, then everything else will come into line. But if you have a really, if you don't have enough kinetic energy and you have a bullet that doesn't perform well, you can have good shot placement and have a bad result. And you and I have seen that together, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We lost a bull together one time. So.
And that was all due to a very poor performing bullet at a range that the speeds that we're going at were higher than anything it could perform at that distance, and yielded in just utter failure there.
Yeah. But as painful as that is, that was a fantastically accurate rifle, and at longer range it performed really, really well and would have on that elk. But the fact is the shot wasn't far enough for that bullet to function.
No.
So I like to plan backwards on all this stuff. So with broadheads, I think it's really critical that the broadhead is the most important part of your archery system, right? That can't fail. The entire rest of the system is about getting that broadhead inside of an animal. Same thing with a rifle, with the scope, with the cartridge. All of that is just about getting that projectile inside of an animal and making sure that it performs well.
It does, and I would also like to add with that is, like, we talk about shot placement and how that's the optimal thing, but also a better performing bullet, if you do have a more marginal shot or a shot that's a little bit farther back, will also make up some differences in a lack of shot placement in some aspects and help you be able to recover an animal that you might not have been able to recover at all at some times. So.
Yeah, totally. And there's ground between a perfect hit and a clean miss, and you can make up some of that ground with a heavier bullet that's going faster, that's performing better. Ross, is this 6.5 PRC a sweetheart cartridge for you? Are there any others that you like?
The year before we built the 28 Nosler with Gunworks, and I think it would be the sweetheart cartridge. It's one that it's never let an animal get away. Everything we've shot at, we've killed, and it's just a very, very proven killer. And so, but on the flip side, that the 6.5 PRC with that 20-inch barrel, we've got the Gunworks Climber carbon fiber stock on. It's a super lightweight gun. So, like, we brought it on this trip because we knew we were going to be hiking into some nasty country. And, well, like last time we ran into some guys and they were like, well, where's your gun? And Jim had it strapped on his backpack, and you couldn't even see the rifle on his back. So, so it definitely has the pros and the cons. That 28 Nosler packs a punch, and the 6.5 PRC not quite as there. But those two rifles, you kind of have that 28 caliber, and then so you kind of have the best of both worlds when you have two rifles like that. You can take one for when you're going light or smaller game animals and bring out the 28 Nosler for something bigger.
Yeah.
But yeah, that 28 Nosler, like I said, it's just proven. Like, take it.
What bullet do you like out of that gun?
We're shooting the 168, the Burgers.
Okay. And that's a Burger VLD?
Yeah, the hybrid.
Okay. Yeah, and it's interesting that, in this gun world, we have to go back and forth between millimeter and in inches, and increasingly so, right? With the 6.5 on the scene, we end up talking about millimeters a lot more often, but the 280 is just a 7 millimeter.
Yeah.
So there's a huge difference between a 6.5 and a 7 mm. That half millimeter makes a tremendous difference.
Yeah.
So I'm a bigger is better guy. I think Elmer Keith said that the ideal elk cartridge was a camp stove going 2,600 feet per second. And I'm in that camp, man. Hit him hard, hit him hard and kill him as fast as you possibly can. But obviously we can't carry a gun that will fire a camp stove very far. But yeah. Ross, you own Switchback Outdoors, which is a YouTube channel primarily, right?
Yeah.
And Jim, you've been on the team of Switchback Outdoors for how long now?
This will be our 4th year together, I believe. So. And
in that time, you've done a bunch of hunts.
We've done 2 different years worth of what we've been calling the Icon Tour, and it's primarily been devoted to mule deer hunting across the West and going to multiple states every year and just experiencing it, different time frames, different states, and just trying to show kind of the spectrum of mule deer hunting throughout the seasons, early spring all the way through, the rut or to after the rut. And it's been a fun project that Ross had got going, and I've been lucky enough to ride along with it and had a great time on it.
But even beyond mule deer, I mean, you guys have done turkey hunts, you've done bear hunts, it's a pretty expansive list.
Yeah, I mean, anything that we can hunt, that we can go get some content for, we'll go do. We were talking about on the way down to, was it Colorado last year?
Yeah.
We had one of the guys with us, one of my buddies, and he was talking about he did a week-long rock chuck hunt. And so we started kind of giving some crap. And like, you know what, that would actually be kind of fun to go just shoot rock chucks.
That would be
just a couple day. Well, we wouldn't do a week-long, but like a couple-day trip, you go down there, get the BDX system down there and range and shoot. Like, that would actually be pretty fun. But yeah, I mean, really anything. I mean, anything more western. We haven't ventured back east. Jim's went and chased coos deer in Arizona. I primarily stayed with mule deer is my main passion. So I tell people I'm not the best elk hunter, but I like mule deer. So that's what I make up for it.
Do you like eating them?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, we love mule deer. I grew up eating mule deer and elk, but we didn't. We mostly just like pounded it and floured and fried it. That's how we grew up eating venison.
Yeah. I really like mule deer too. I think it's kind of an interesting development in hunting that people kind of look down at the taste of them. But the muleys that I grew up eating were high mountain deer that spent their summers in the alpine and then came down in the fall when they were kind of pushed out by weather and predators and everything else. And that's where we were hunting them. And they got a little bite of frozen alfalfa at that point. But mostly they were eating alpine foods. And any animal that's living at high elevation, their forage is so scant and so nutrient dense because it has such a short growing period. I think that animal just ends up tasting fantastic.
Yeah, I could see that.
What's your favorite wild game animal to eat?
It's kind of a weird one, but like our family loves to eat antelope.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you take care of antelope right, it's even worse than venison. I feel like people say antelope's the worst thing to eat, but if you take care of it right, we love antelope. Cut it really thin and just cook it really fast. And yeah, my kids they were like, how come you don't shoot another antelope? I'm like, I can't get the tag ever, But yeah, they love antelope. But antelope and elk. Deer's. Like I said, it's pretty probably my third. It's still really good, and we get more of that than we do elk. So
right.
But yeah,
that's interesting. When you say take care of it, say somebody's going to go on their first antelope hunt this year, or maybe they've had antelope before that didn't taste that good. Are you talking about how they take care of it in the field or how they take care of it at home?
Both. When I was 13 years old, I shot my first antelope. We shot it and we just gutted it out and threw it in the back of the truck and drove home with it like that way. 2-hour drive. Then we took it out and skinned it, that kind of thing. And it wasn't that good at all. And then after that, we just kind of experimented more. The next one we shot and we cleaned it right there and put it in quarters and drove it in the back, and it was a little better. And then the last one I shot, we went and we quartered it out, put it right on ice, took it home, and we cut it up that same day, and it was amazing. That's awesome. I think as soon as you can get it on ice, the better.
Okay.
And that's whenever we would go antelope hunting, that's what we plan when we have a cooler just ready with ice. And as soon as we get those quarters off and then bags, we put them on that ice until we can get it back home.
Blocks, cubes.
I like blocks.
Yeah.
Just less mess.
Right.
A lot of times I'll take a gallon jugs, like the heavier duty, like a Ocean Spray, those heavier duty ones, and I'll just freeze those and put them in there. That way you're not getting any leakage or anything. Yeah.
Do you have any tips for taking care of antelope in the field, Jim?
No, I think that's the fastest ones. It's all about how you take care of them and as fast as you can do it. And that's where just breaking them down and putting them on ice has been the success. And honestly, antelope is one of my favorite things too. But living in Oregon, it's harder to draw a tag. So you don't have the same opportunity, but I've had very good meat come off of them and impressed a lot of people with a well taken care of critter. And I think that speaks with any of them, but definitely antelope.
I've been stacking my points in Wyoming. I think I've got 3 antelope points now, so one of these years I'll have to go throw my hat in the ring and bring a bunch of ice with me.
Yeah. No, I think I'll go with you.
Sounds good. Except here's the problem with that, is if you and me go antelope hunting, then I'm going to see a buck and be like, sweet, I'm going to shoot it. You're going to slap my hand and be like, no.
No,
I'm
I
going to
don't.
see another buckbill. Like, I want to shoot that one too.
No, I think I let anybody shoot anything they want. If they're happy with it, they can go for it.
Yeah.
But I definitely will try to persuade you out of it at some point.
So this has actually been a role that we've played for each other a few times since we've been friends, is going on hunts to make sure that the other guy doesn't shoot something that he'll later regret, which neither of us have ever done.
Not managed to pull the trigger yet.
But yeah, I think one of the first hunts we ever went on was that big bull hunt that I had out in Chesnum.
Yep. Yeah, that was one of the funnest things I'd ever gone on, just because it was like the fourth quarter, and I was like, hey, dude, you got an extra seat? Need any help? Like, just trying to figure out how I could weasel in on this. You're like, come on out.
Yeah. I remember you saying that there was no way you were going to lose track of how many bulls we saw. And I think halfway through the second day, you were over 100 ranch bulls.
Yeah.
And then you threw in the towel.
Threw in the towel at that point. I felt like we were counting some of the same ones. So
It's possible. Yeah. It's hard to say one way or another. But, man, that was a fantastic hunt. Ended up in a really cool elk. That bull was 6.5 years old, and he did not taste good. We did get him cold right away and stuff, but these older bulls, some of them just are a little bit tough to eat.
they make a good hamburger.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Some of these guys that all they kill are big bulls, and they've been at it for a long time. I kind of feel bad for them. I think that they've forgotten how good elk can be, like back in the day when they shot cows and raghorns.
And just had it all, and they're like, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah. I shot a cow this last year, and then I shot a small 5-point the year before, and my wife, who's basically a staunch trophy hunter at this point, she wants me to continue to shoot small stuff because it tastes good, but she only wants to shoot big stuff. I'm like, how did this dynamic occur in my life? Pretty funny. Well, Ross, a lot of people are interested in having for themselves the type of success that you've had with Switchback Outdoors. I know when I talk to young kids and ask them what they want to be when they grow up, they say they want to be YouTubers. And you are living that. You have a YouTube channel that's successful and has sponsorship, and you work really hard at partnering with those people and making sure that they receive good value in return. So, I mean, if somebody wants to start their own hunting YouTube channel, what advice do you have for them? How do they even get started?
First, I think it's just doing it. When I first started Switchback, it was early 2013, and I just wanted to video my own hunts, and that was kind of the main deal. And I was like, but if I want to get these and edit them, I want to share them with people. And so that's why, at first we were going to do the Vimeo route because it was just less. I don't know, YouTube just didn't seem like the great place to do it. So we were going to go that. And then we jumped over to the YouTube side of things. And I'm glad we did because that's definitely like Vimeo. You don't even see those videos anymore. Everything's YouTube. But it was a slow process. I didn't go into it expecting much. I still was doing my normal jobs, doing everything else the same. Besides, I just packed a video camera with me.
So what kind of camera does somebody need?
Really, it's crazy. You don't need as big or as you think. I started off with a Canon FH S200, I think. I got it for I think I got it for like $600 off eBay, and it was shooting 1080 and it had a decent zoom on it, and I used that thing for 2 or 3 years. And then just this last year I upgraded to like one of like the Sony mirrorless cameras, and I would definitely say it's been nice because like on this hunt or on any of the hunts last year, it's a mirrorless camera, so it takes amazing pictures and it takes great 4K video. But I have it on my tripod all the time, so I can snap pictures and get video with the same camera. Because before I had a DSLR in my backpack and my video camera, and the DSLR stayed in my backpack, so I didn't ever get any of that great pictures. I was always using my cell phone or different things, and then that's really bumped the game up, I would say. Audio is a really big thing that I'm pretty picky about, and even with a shotgun mic with like the Quiet Cat on it, like sometimes you have rough. You kind of want to. If it's really windy, you might want to tuck back into a corner or something like that where you're going to get a little better audio. Because I think that would kind of, people when they're watching a video and watching the output of the audio, sometimes you're watching it and then it's, when they're talking, it's super quiet, and then they go into a music, scene or something like that, and it blurs your speakers out, and you're always having to go and adjust the audio up and down and different things. So, I think the main thing is just going out and doing it and just trying it and just posting them. when I started, I tried to have like 5 videos already on YouTube before I ever even started putting it. Back then, it was just Facebook. Before I put it on Facebook, because I didn't want people to just see one video and then 3 months later, oh, there's another video. I wanted them to have some content already there. So I think having content and trying to be regular with your content, we've been trying to do that this year. Today's Tuesday, so I actually missed out on this Tuesday. I had a video ready to go. We actually did a backpack wolf hunt in Idaho, and I have it ready to go, but I didn't hit upload on it. So, but trying to be regular with content is huge. I think if you can get people to say, "Oh, a Switchback video is coming out today," I think that's a big thing. And diving into like the analytics and things, it's something I never really cared about much. But then when we did the first Icon tour, we did a video a day for 16 days. So we did we hunted for 16 days, and we did just boom, 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 boom. And then content went quiet for a couple months. And I guess YouTube actually dings you on your analytics if you're not being regular and consistent with your content. If they see that spike, then they want to expect that same spike. And then if you drop off, it lowers you down on their analytics. So we've been trying, when we did this year's Icon tour, we uploaded videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which was great because it gave us a day in between to promote that video prior, and then it was better for just marketing the project as a whole, and then it spread our whole product out another month. And then after that, we've just been doing weekly content. We've been doing the Tannerite Tuesday videos every other Tuesday, and then the other Tuesdays we've been trying to throw in a hunt from the year prior that we hadn't released yet or something like that. Yeah. And man, I don't know. It's all about getting the content. I think it's crazy. Like I'll watch some of the videos or the YouTube channels my kids watch, and I'm just like, how are they like? It's some of the dumbest things out there. But some of the things that they just have a niche at, and they do it. And my kids are there sitting watching it, and they've got millions and millions of subscribers, and I'm sitting here over like, okay, what can I do to get something like that? But I don't know. You just can't get discouraged, especially in the hunting YouTube channel. It's tough because it's kind of controversial. You'll get people saying, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. But I don't know, it's a tough market, especially if you're in Western hunting. If you look at the hunting market in the United States, the Western hunters were a very, very, very small percentage of it. So I think you just got to do it and just don't get discouraged. And like I said, it's 2020 now, so it's been 7 years. I'm not the greatest at math.
Yeah, people overestimate what they can get done in a year, and they underestimate what they can get done in a decade.
Oh yeah,
by a lot.
And and we've done it all organic. We haven't paid for, that's the one thing I do like about YouTube is you can't pay for subscribers. Mm-hmm. There's no way you can just, pay someone to get. I mean, I guess I don't know. Maybe there is a way, but if you're not getting that organic growth, I feel like your followers aren't really there to watch what you're doing. Right. And even then we were talking about it, even Jim and I were talking about it yesterday afternoon when we were waiting for bears to come out. You're only getting like 30% of your subscribers are the ones actually watching your videos. Mm-hmm. Even looking at during the Icon tour, our analytics.
Guilty, by the way, I think.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like people that are subscribed, they don't see it. But I think it was like one time I looked, it was 92% of the people watching our videos were not subscribed to our videos or to our channel. And then vice versa, I think you have the people that are subscribed that aren't watching it, and so you try to convert those people to subscribe, which is great because if you are talking to companies you want to partner with, having that bigger subscriber base, but then you want to have loyal subscribers too, because if you have this big number but only 10% are watching, that really doesn't really do much for them either. But trying to grow something it's just like growing any brand. It's just if you want to get those consistent and loyal subscribers that will watch it, want to tell their friends about it. And it's tough. It's been really tough to do. It's been great having a good project like we did with the Icon Tour. That's when we definitely saw a lot more growth than we had years prior. Big time. I mean, it was having a specific project to promote towards helped us out way more.
I think one of the most considered and difficult aspects of this professional hunting stuff is that you've got to work with brands to pull it off because it's expensive. So you need the gear, you need financial support to be able to pull off these hunts, and there's always criticism that comes with that. And people will say that you sold out if you accept money from a brand, or that they can no longer trust your opinion, or even if you aren't paid, or you just get a discount on something, they'll be like, well, he only runs that because he gets 30% off.
Yeah.
And that's a really tough thing. It's a tough thing to navigate, and you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to be honest with your audience, because they can see right through it otherwise. With me as a guide and an outfitter, I don't get the luxury of using something I don't believe in, because I freaking live out here.
Yeah.
If it fails, the consequences for that can be really perilous for me or the people that I'm with. And it's the same thing for you guys. You go in the backcountry in these places in Wyoming, Colorado, and Oregon. If something goes wrong with your gear, you're in a really bad place.
Yeah.
And no amount of money makes that worthwhile. So I think that people are like, man, what kind of camo should I wear? What kind of pack should I run? I wonder if this company will talk to me. I wonder if they'll follow me on Instagram. Like, don't do that. Just try and figure out what will work for the job that you're going to do, and then go try it. And if it fails, you need to go to something else. Get the best that you can afford.
Yeah.
And then work hard until you can afford the stuff that you need. And what do you guys think about that?
I think it's 100% true. Is like every time we go out, we're trusting all of our equipment to be able to perform at the same level that we're trying to have out of it. And the effort that we put into going to these places, it would be so frustrating if I got there and everything that I brought, just because it was something that was given to me or whatnot, failed me at that. And it would take away from your overall experience of hunting or whatever you're doing in any adventure out there. And I feel that if you have questions on gear, ask the right people. Figure out what works for other people that you see that are successful, that are removed from things. If your buddy has it, ask him to borrow it. See if it's something you can, and then save, afford, be able to purchase those things.
Yeah.
And I think what a lot of these companies that are, when they're working with you, is they don't want you just to say, hey, this is the greatest gear I've ever used. They want you to critique it. They want you to use it and abuse it, and then, because what they're really wanting to get from you is advice and what they could change, and sometimes the littlest things that they could change make all the world of difference. So yeah, I mean, being true to who you are and trying to use the gear that you believe in. There's been times, I'll admit it, when I was first starting Switchback, there was times I used gear that I didn't believe in. But it was hard because it was kind of like, I made these agreements, or I made these things, but that was just where I didn't maybe talk about as much on the videos or whatnot. But that's one thing we've always tried to really stay away from, doing like that hard sell of telling people, I couldn't have shot this deer without this, or I couldn't. We've always tried to stay away from that, and I think it's more of people seeing what we're using, and then we get the questions about it. Like I said in the beginning, the companies want you to tell them what they can fix, because just like a company's just like a person, they want to know what they can fix themselves to be better. And if you're not giving them that, and you're just saying, "Oh yeah, that was great. I loved it. That was the best piece of gear you guys ever had," and if it really wasn't, you're not really helping them out at all. And so, yeah, I think being true to yourself is definitely, it's a kind of a thin line you have to try to play when you're trying to work with companies, because there are some companies that have something that's really amazing, and maybe one other thing they might not have, it's not as good, or different things. But I think just being honest with people, and I don't know, like I said, it's a thin line you have to kind of watch and balance and check things out, because like I said, people see through it. And I mean, they can tell when you're miserable or different things like that, or when something fails. But I don't know, it's crazy.
I'll say that the most valuable thing that anyone has is their integrity, and you only get to sell it once.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do it, get a good price. Otherwise, just ride, shoot straight, and speak the truth.
Yeah.
So speaking about audio earlier and the value of that, I know folks are listening to this and hearing the wind. It's the afternoon. We're in a river canyon, and we're watching leaves and dust blow upstream. So let's talk about thermals. I can talk about the wind forever. We've done whole podcasts on wind before. But on a spring bear hunt like this, we've got an animal that smells incredibly well. A bear's sense of smell is phenomenal. It's better than an elk's. And we're in the bottom of the canyon, and we've got wind blowing up the canyon. So what the hell do we do?
I think it all comes to just coming up with a good plan of attack and understanding how it moves throughout the day, whether it's uphill or downhill, and basing your hunt off of that too. You can be hunting down during the heat of the day looking at some lower country, but in the morning as you're working up, some of the draws coming off the river, it's in your favor there, but when you get to the bench, you can wait for it to switch around and set up for success again. And it's all, especially in here, it's all terrain driven for the most part with the river, and it's somewhat predictable unless a storm is impacting it. And I think you can base all your hunting moves around that.
Yeah. So, it's what time is it? It's 3:00 in the afternoon. We're starting to see shade in the norths, but we've still got another 4.5 hours of sunlight. Wind's blowing upstream. What time do you expect the wind to turn around?
It's in my mind when the shade hits the canyon and everything switches and your diurnals come down is when you'll start feeling it. And obviously 6 o'clock, 6:30,
yeah,
somewhere in there, it'll waver for a while, kind of flip flop, and then it'll hopefully be diurnal flow back down.
And Ross, you run baits a lot in Idaho.
Yeah.
So the switching of the wind in the evening, that's a really pivotal time for you, isn't it?
Oh, it's huge. At first, when I first started doing baits, I just looked for terrain, and I didn't even think about the thermals at all. And I had success at that, but it was never a good bear. And then once I finally went to a place now, before I even set up a bait, I'll go there about the time when I think the bear's, an hour and a half before the sun goes down. The last 2 hours of light are definitely their best on the bait. And so now I'll go out there before and and pick a spot. One of the ones I just set last year, I'm sitting directly underneath the bait on the downhill side. And it's like you always see those whitetail hunters, they sit this stand at this time with this wind change, direction and everything. And that's one bait that if it's not perfect, you just don't go into it because you're just going to waste your time sitting there because the bears won't come in. If you have that wind, that steady wind coming downhill, you'll usually have bears come in. But yeah, we did that last year when we had some of those spring storms coming through. We'd go sit just because we're like, well, we can go sit tonight. And like I said, we didn't have any bears come in. And then when we finally got that first night when the wind was steady coming down, we had 3 different bears come in. So the thermals are huge when you're setting on the bait because they're coming in cautious. They know that there's food there, but just like anything, like they're trying to survive. And so they're even more cautious coming into a bait because they know there could be danger there. Kind of like an animal trying to go to a water hole over in Africa or something. They know there's danger there, so they're kind of on edge.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's really important for people to consider how important an animal's life is by the wind. They live and die by the wind. Here in camp, we've got one pine tree, and there's turkeys that fly into our camp every single night. They fly right over our heads while we're out here having cocktails and eating and smoking and joking, and they land in this tree. There are other trees around. There are pine trees up on the hill, but they roost in this tree because it's right next to the water, and thermals will rise all night, and that will move their scent away from any predators, so their location is not given away, and that's why a turkey wants to roost over water. Yeah. Can a turkey smell? Nope, but he lives and dies by the wind because the things that can eat him can smell. So you just can't underestimate how important wind is to animals, to these predator-prey dynamics. Well, guys, I really appreciate your time. This has been fun, and I'm looking forward to the rest of our hunt and fishing trips, and I'm planning on going over and taking my motorcycle over and doing a little hunting with you in Idaho this year. And seeing if we can't find a bear nibbling on some bait.
Yeah, I'll try to repay you, but I don't know if I can repay you for this trip. It's been amazing, just seeing the country and watching you run the river. And I mean, it's been like a once in a lifetime. It's been awesome. We really appreciate it.
Well, the river's not going anywhere. Sooner take a bath with Jim than sell my jet boat. So I don't know about the once in a lifetime part, but I'm really glad you guys are here.
Well, thank you very much. I always look forward to all our adventures.
They're all good.
Yeah, never had a letdown yet. So.
All right, boys. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I hope you enjoyed the show, and thank you for listening. Original music was written and performed by Justin Hay. This podcast was edited by Emily Brannigan, and we'll be publishing a new episode every week. Go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and feel free to send this show along to someone who you think would enjoy it. Lastly, I want to thank Ross and Jim for being on this episode. They're great guys, and you can follow along on more adventures of theirs on YouTube or Instagram. Just hunt for Switchback Outdoors. Talk to you next week.